to another edition of Shed Talk, my weekly magazine video series looking at the keeping, breeding and showing of cage birds, with a particular focus, as always, on the exhibition style Budgerigar. So in this episode we'll talk a little bit about my plans for June, as we're right at the beginning of that month now. Well, June is really a time in my shed around consolidation. So, and I spoke in the last episode about splitting the pairs. So, consolidating the Budgerigars, so making sure that everything's still going all right in here as we're slowly splitting up the pairs. Beginning to look at what we're going to do with the fifes in those now that they're sat on their last round of eggs, or at least for me it will be their last round of eggs. So those two, in terms of the Budgerigars and the fifes, it's really about consolidating this year's breeding season and looking forward to the show season. Of course, with this year we've got a little bit of extra interest because out in the Finch and fife flight we have just put some nest boxes up. Those of you that watched the last episode, put nest boxes up for the zebras, so hopefully the hens will start taking an interest in those nest boxes, and we'll have a look at, maybe, just maybe in the month of June we might just get a few eggs in there, or at least we'll get to see whether or not the hens are likely to go to nest. So that's the main focus for June. As always, if you enjoy the episode or any of the videos on the Shed Talk page, please do hit a like. Of course, share them as widely as you like, and don't forget to comment on anything that you see in the videos. So if you have any questions, just message me or leave a comment and I'll try and answer those in a future video. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, then please do subscribe. All the subscriptions help the channel to grow, so just hit the subscribe button, and as always, early notifications. Don't forget to click on the bell. So let's start off with in this shed then and have a look at the Budgerigars. So in the Budgerigar shed then, I do think I've covered most of what's going on in here in June in the previous video where we looked at splitting the pairs, because that's the main thing that's happening in here, is splitting up the remaining pairs or waiting for those the last pair to wean. I did have a question on the splitting of pairs that I thought I would cover in here as well. I did answer it in the comments section. I thought I'd cover it in here as well. So the question was, what would I do if if the egg was full and I intended to keep the hen sat on it to basically raise that last round. So I split the pair, so taking the cockbird out, and then when I check the eggs, the egg is fertile, and my intention, hypothetically, would be that I want to let that egg hatch and the chick be raised. The question was, would I put the cockbird back in with the hen? My answer to that generally is no, I wouldn't. And the reason behind that is there is a real risk that if you pop the cockbird back into the breeding cage after he's been removed, even if he's only been removed for a couple of days, but after he's been removed, there is a real risk that he will go in the nest box and destroy all the eggs to try and basically chase the hen back down to mating with him again. I think he probably won't recognise the eggs as being his because he's not been in the breeding cage. So as a general rule, if I've taken the cockbird out and I've got fertile eggs in there, then I would not put the cockbird back in with the hen whilst the eggs are while she's still sat on the eggs. I wouldn't put him back in there if I'd removed him for any period of time and the hen was feeding chicks as well. I wouldn't put him back in. Then there's a risk that he'll kill the chicks. I think birds just have very short memories. Anyway, so that was a very useful, thank you for the question first of all. and I hope I have answered that. As always, if you have any questions, don't forget to put them in the comments or just message me, and I will try and answer them both in the comment section and in the actual video. So where are we in here then with that overall splitting of pairs and closing this down? So the hen that is in cage number 9, you remember she was sat on some clear eggs. I've now finished removing those eggs. Nest box has been turned around and she's just sat in there. I'm going to give her a week, about a week in there, and then I'll move her to a slightly larger stock cage so she's got a bit more room to exercise. Then the hen in cage number 3, nest box has been removed and she's about to go into one of the stock cages, the wider, longer stock cage, to get a bit more exercise. So I'll just give her a week in there and then I'll put her back in the flight. And then finally, I suppose we're talking about the pair that's in cage 1. Of those, you may remember the last time we looked in here, there were, we had 3 chicks and we were just waiting to see whether the last 2 eggs would hatch. So one of the eggs did hatch. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the youngster in the nest box after that egg had hatched. I checked the bottom of the cage and it was on the bottom of the cage. I can only assume that it got caught up with the hen when she left the nest box at some stage. It was on the bottom of the cage. It was very cold. Looked like it had been there for, you know, a fair amount of time. I did try to revive it, you know, sometimes, and I've done it myself, sometimes you find a chick that's cold, looks lifeless, and then you put it in your hand to warm it up and blow on it, and after about a couple of minutes you tend to start feeling it, that warmth causes it to start moving again. I was breathing on it and had it in my hand for a good probably over 5 minutes trying that. Didn't come round, it was definitely dead. So unfortunately, we have still only got the 3 in that nest box. All 3 are doing well. You saw us ringing one of those. I've now rung 2 of those chicks actually in there and got 1 more to go. So that's all of the budgerigars really. The only other thing I'd say in here is the 2 new birds that are in one of the what was the breeding cage in isolation. For that quarantine period. I'm going to give those about another week and they'll get moved. And I have now cleaned out one of what was the old wooden breeding cages. So, well, when I say cleaned it out, it hasn't had a thorough clean, but it's been, you know, washed out. You can still see there's still some marks on it. And I've removed the central box which contains the 2 nest boxes, and I've replaced that with a wire front, so they've now got the whole of that long stock cage. Now that's where the hens will go into to get their flight, a bit more exercise. And then once I've sorted out the breeding team will go, sorry, not the breeding team, the show team will go in both those 2. So I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom one. So the show team will initially go into both those 2 just while I prepare them and get them sorted out for the show season. I may hold off putting them in there or moving them all in there until I've given them a good wash out. I won't be painting those until after, or once I'm happy that show season is virtually done. So there we go. That's what all there is really in the main budgerigar shed. So what we should do now is nip out to the Finch and Fife flight, and not only will we do fifes from breeding to bench, but we'll also look at those finches. So out here in the Finch and Fife flight in June, there are 2 areas I suppose. One with the finches, the zebra finches. We have some nest boxes up. We put those up in the last episode. I added some nesting material to enable the zebras to go to nest should they wish to. I'm pleased to say that actually over the past 4 or 5 days. They keep continuously emptying the container that has the nesting material in, and it looks as if there are nests being built in all 3 of the nest boxes. Now what I don't know, because I've not seen any birds going in and out of them, but there is definitely nesting material in them. As I say, I don't know is whether that's one hen building more than one nest and deciding which one she's going to eventually going to sit in, or whether we've got 3 hens now building 3 different nest boxes, or somewhere in between basically. However, the good news is, from the zebra point of view, is that we do have zebras building nests in the nest box, so touch wood, within a couple of weeks we might even see a few chicks, or hear some chicks in the main finch flight. So and if we do, obviously I'll try and get some pictures of that going on. The other thing, of course, is the fifes. So the first round of fifes, the 3 chicks are all doing well. I'm pleased to say we've had no more disasters there. I've again still not heard any of them singing particularly, so I still will need to keep an eye on those to work out whether or not we've got any cockbirds in amongst those 3. The other really good news with the fifes, of course, is that we've now got some more chicks. The second round have hatched, and for the best that I can tell, we have all 4 eggs have hatched and all 4 chicks are being fed and surviving. They're now about, I think, 4 days old, 3-4 days old, I think, something like that. So so it looks as if that initial phase of worrying about some being weak and all the rest of that when they first touch out hasn't been a major problem. So good news here. Second round, looks like we've got 4. Hopefully this time we'll manage to keep all 4 of those chicks. So that's it from out here in the Finch and fife flight. We'll go back now into the Budgerigar shed. Well, early on in the week I did actually record me ringing the first of the birds in, or the first of the chicks in cage 1. So I thought we'd take a quick look at that now. So I've got the nest box out ready to ring this, the eldest of these chicks. It's actually quite large, so I might have left this a couple of days beyond what I would normally like to. Not quite sure whether this bird perhaps hatched a bit earlier than I put on the record. I'm not sure, however it's still easily ringable, if that's the word. And I did, in terms of why we ring both the Budgerigars and the fifes, I did do an episode on that a little while ago. So I will put a link across the top of the screen now if you want to go and have a look at ringing, why we ring birds, or the main reasons I think that we ring birds. So as you can see here, I've managed to get, I'll get the ring on this bird. It proved a little bit trickier than some of them do, like I say, because of the size of the bird, but it went on relatively easily in the end. I have had far more difficult birds to ring than this one, so that's another one rung for this breeding season. I think that's ring number 24, so not too bad at all from my point of view. And we've still got 2 more in this nest box to ring later on this month. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed that little look at me ringing the birds. Like I did say, if you want more information about ringing and why we ring birds, there was a video that I did a while ago. So just follow the link that was on the screen. So that is just about all we've got time for now from both sheds. So if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, don't forget, stay safe and enjoy your birds.